Hello and welcome. Thank you for taking a minute to check out this little case study that I've put together for you in order to share a little bit more about who I am, who I help, how I help them, and maybe there's going to be a little nugget of gold in here that's going to be helpful to you too. So my name is Amber DeVos, aka the Seducts, and I'm a dating and love life coach who specializes in helping singles battle self-doubt, inexperience, and loneliness in order to have more fulfilling and more fun dating life with ease. What makes me qualified to do this sort of thing? Well, first and foremost, I am a social scientist. So I am not just a pickup artist who is teaching you some cheap tricks on how to pick up chicks or anything like that, but rather I'm using my vast experience in cultural anthropology, neurolinguistic programming, psychology, gender dynamics, and yes, as a professional event and celebrity photographer in New York City in order to help my audience and ultimately my clients to have what I like to call the 6 C's of my coaching. So I'll get into that a little bit later, but I want to keep sharing with you about who I am in terms of what makes me qualified. I've been running my own dating and love life coaching business for the last 5 years, and I had an opportunity to work with some of the top VIP matchmaking companies for over 2 years. And not only that, but I, if you can believe it, had a very difficult dating life myself at times. And, being successfully single in New York City, I had a lot of different experiences. And I like to say I've done it all so that you don't have to. Okay, so taking all of those things, I have become this dating and love life coach who specializes in what I do because I think it's so wonderful to be able to empower someone on their personal development journey. So, as a dating coach, sometimes people think that the success mark is getting, somebody getting engaged or somebody getting married, but it's actually really about becoming the best version of yourself and the most magnetic version of yourself. So, when I was a photographer, my mission was to help people feel more confident and fall in love with themselves. And as a dating coach, I help people fall in love with themselves and fall in love with other people. This is why I do what I do, is to really help people have the best mindset, best strategies, best techniques, best just everything around these 6 things. First and foremost is confidence, or what I like to say is the ability to trust in yourself and other people. Second is character, which is knowing who you are behind closed doors, aka your strengths and your weaknesses. Third is communication. And that's what we're going to focus on today in this case study. Because, I'm going to try and cram like a whole 6-month program into just a few minutes here. But I'm going to give you three of my favorite communication solutions. Connection. Obviously, dating is about connecting with another human being. So we're going to focus on how to connect with, especially with the opposite sex, and trying to understand what's going through their head. The fifth one is charisma, or as the kids call it these days, Riz. But it's that magnetic quality that makes you irresistible. So I like to say if you master those first four, then the Riz is natural. It's not something you're born with. You can actually build it. And then the sixth one is courage. Courage, the definition of that is action in the face of fear. So you can't move forward on anything unless you're willing to take that first step. Okay, so now on to my client. And now he's a good representation of who I typically help, right? So most of my clients are men who are from 32 to 52, who are generally successful professionally. They're very confident in that area of their life. But when it comes to dating, when it comes to their love lives, they're struggling with one thing or the other. So Matthew totally fits into that in the sense that, he's 32 years old, living in San Francisco, software engineer. So he's a bit on the shy, introverted side, really, committed to having a serious relationship, but didn't have a lot of experience dating women because he'd been focused on his education and his career. And, being kind of shy and awkward, it's not always the most magnetic, attractive way to present to females. So, the three things that he was struggling with, I mean, he was struggling with a lot, but, for the sake of our video here, I'm going to talk about 3 things that he was struggling with and the 3 solutions that we came up with for him. But one of the things for sure he was struggling with was online dating. right? So he was spending hours every week swiping, swiping, swiping without a lot of success. Or if he was making matches, they weren't exactly the kind of women that he really wanted to date, but it was exciting that somebody matched with him. And because of that, he was going on a lot of like only dates, right? They were expensive, they were boring with people who weren't good fits. And he was starting to get burned out and ready to give up. So it was like, how, Amber, do I fix my online dating situation? Struggle number one. Struggle number two, I already kind of hinted at it, but he's shy, right? He wasn't a terribly social person when I first met him. He didn't have like a big group of friends in the sense that he knew everybody. I mean, he had core friends, but they weren't exactly introducing him to new people. So he really wanted to not only be able to just be more social in situations, but also he was so clueless when women maybe were flirting with him or how to flirt with women that he was attracted to. So he was like, Amber, I know that there's online dating, but also how do I just make my dating life, dating opportunities better in real life? Struggle number two. Struggle number three was that he wasn't always making the strongest first impression. So I had the pleasure and joy to be able to meet him in person. And I always meet my clients in person with the eye of, if I were on a date with this person, what would my perception be? And even though I could tell he had a very big heart and super sweet guy, very intelligent, his clothes were wrinkled, his shoes were dirty, there may have been some spots on his shirt, and his fingernails, were a little ragged, and just like little things that, sometimes we miss because we don't think it's that important. But when we're presenting to other people, it's actually a really big deal. And he knew that about himself. So he was like, Amber, can you please help me with these things? And I said, absolutely. Absolutely. And so, the solutions that we came up with for him did end up becoming a 6-month program, right? So, booking a strategy call with me, which you have the opportunity to do below, is completely complimentary. We can talk about those obstacles that you have and the goals that you have around them, and you'll walk away with some valuable solutions. But, I don't know if I can fully help you the way that I was able to help Matthew, but it doesn't hurt to at least book the call and find out. And in the solutions that I came up with for him, maybe you'll hear something for yourself, or you'll hear like, oh yeah, I definitely need to work with an expert, Amber, in order to work on these things with velocity and ease, right? When it came to his online dating life, of course, we did first and foremost what I like to call an online dating profile overhaul. So it was doing an audit of all of his profiles, his photos, his prompts, how he was communicating what he was looking for and who he was as a person. And yes, at first glance, there was a lot of work to be done there. So we did personality assessments. We did what I love to call the clarity quadrant, which is a bonus that I offer in terms of just not only identifying his character, but the character of who he's trying to match with. And so, even though your online dating profile is kind of the equivalent of a postage stamp, like it gives just enough information about the country it came from, but at the same time, it leaves you wanting more, you have to treat it as such. So, putting that time and energy into making sure the photos communicate what kind of partner he is, that his prompts were intriguing and interesting and opened up conversations. And of course, not just that, but helping him be able to match make himself, right? So if we do personality assessments and clarity quadrants, he's not going to keep matching with those girls that are, he's going to go on these expensive only dates with, but rather women that he gets to have a really fun experience with. Right. So we worked on that. And in fact, I've created another free gift for you, a download down below, which I like to call the 9 do's and taboos of your online dating profile, which is going to give you some of my favorite tips on how to have the best photos for yourself and some other little tips and tricks on how to have the best online dating profile so that, right away, I can set you up for success. So check that out. And obviously, if you want deeper help, then you book that call with me. Okay, that strategy call with me personally. So yeah, so we helped him with his online dating profile. So in terms of the shyness, we did something that I love to call body language boot camp. And that's really just about how to read other people and how to connect with other people, right? So through paying attention, through asking some great questions, right? Curiosity and playfulness. And mind you, again, I'm trying to cram, 6 months of work into this very brief thing, but that body language boot camp just did wonders for him. So now he knows when somebody's flirting with him from across the room, and he knows how to open up a conversation with an attractive stranger. He knows how to talk to just regular strangers, right? So he went from a guy who didn't have much of a social life to having trivia nights and volleyball league and pickleball and going on speed dating events where he actually enjoys the experience, even if he doesn't necessarily meet the love of his life, right? Because again, it's not about getting engaged or married. It's rather about having just a more successful, more fulfilling journey so that when he does meet the right person, he's confident that, yes, this is my person, and she's confident in him. Okay, so we did that. And then last but not least, as far as that positive first impression goes, so this is a little like extra that I offer to clients, but it was a wardrobe overhaul experience. So I literally went to Matthew's house and I went through his closet and helped pull out of those things that were just not flattering anymore, and then help him organize the things that he already did have that actually were attractive and flattering. And I taught him how to pair those things together. And we went on a shopping trip so that we could fill in the gaps of things that were missing from his closet. And of course, being a photographer, we did a photo shoot. And it was so great because those photos really communicated his big heart and his sweet nature and his fun personality, and really just allowed whoever was checking him out, whether it was on social media, on the dating apps, wherever, to really just get a good sense of who he was as a person, either before meeting him or after meeting him, going like, yeah, that's the Matthew I know. So, I hope that you found this helpful, because, ultimately my job as a coach is to guide my clients to recognize the best versions of themselves, and to be able to help them save time and money and frustration on the dating experience. Because yes, of course, you can go and read a bunch of books and do research on your own, and that's fine, right? For some people, that's the appropriate solution. But I typically find, the only way that I can ever guarantee the results that I've been able to produce with Matthew and other clients is that they came to me vulnerable, coachable, and also willing to do the work. Okay, because I can't do it for you. It's not my job to do that, but it is to hold space, to give you skills and strategies, help you on your personal development journey, to help you embrace those 6 C's in such a way that you know yourself as like never before. And inevitably, because of that, you become more attractive to the people that you're wishing to attract. So that was a lot of information in a relatively short amount of time. But if at any point in that you found a valuable solution, I would love to hear it. If you're looking for unique solutions for yourself, because of course everybody's journey is different. Maybe you're listening to Matthew's story and you're like, I don't have any problem with online, but my problem is I have a lot of first dates that don't turn into second dates, or second dates that don't turn into this, or whatever, right? The point is that you have an opportunity to talk to an expert, a social scientist who can at least hear you and point you in the right direction. And of course, if it's appropriate, we can talk about doing one of my dating dynamo programs that might be a good fit for you. But either way, my philosophy is you always want to leave somebody better than you found them. So like I said, limited availability on those calls. I only have so many hours a week to do these sessions. So, if you really want to have that personalized attention and spend some time with me and just have some clarity around, next steps for yourself in your dating life, then book down below. Book down below. And of course, bare minimum, download that free guide. It's going to make a big difference. And I'd love to hear from you about that. And if you like what I'm doing here, check out my Instagram, check out my YouTube. I do have a Patreon channel. So for example, if you just want to have some really great quick tips every week, then, become a subscriber on Patreon. I have a podcast, Take the Alphabet. I mean, there's lots of different ways for you to connect with me, but ultimately just know that I just love and appreciate you for making it all the way to the end of this video. Because if you've made it all the way here, it means that something has resonated with you. And it means that you have that heart of courage, and you have that desire for greater confidence, and just to really put yourself out there in the world in a meaningful and fulfilling way, so that you have that relationship of your dreams, just to be able to go out there and just be the best version of yourself and have some fun along the way. So book that call, download that free gift, follow me on all of my social channels, and until next time, lots of love to you. Ciao for now.